Hey, welcome to this episode of Reestablishment. Today, I want you to really pay attention and to lean in on what we're going to be talking about. I got to set this up for you. So those of you that are just listening, I want you to get this mental picture. I got this email. I was introduced to these people by an email. I know we do it all the time. We do handoffs on emails, and I was recommended. You all need to meet who this guest is on the show today. And I'm like, okay, because I get these all the time. And I got to tell you, there are people in your life that the first time you see them, there's an instant connection. And I got to tell you, I knew who they were, but didn't really know them at all. First time they walked in my office, it was like we've been connected our whole lives. There was something really, really special. And I had to say that to set this up, because there are going to be people in your lives that God's going to bring, or other people are just going to bring in your life through circumstance or whatever. And you need to filter them out and understand. But there are those that as soon as you meet them, you just feel that kinship. And that's these folks. So today, I'm excited to have Micah LaCerte and Diana Chaloux LaCerte with us. And want to introduce you to them. Welcome aboard, guys.
Oh, man. Thank you for having us.
So I tell people, because that's really what happened. That's how we met, through a guy named Matt that just did an email introduction. And, they say it takes 200 hours with somebody to create a friendship. And I think ours was like almost instant. And we've built on that since then. And I think it's fantastic. But today on this podcast, I called you in because I want to reach a group of people that are more than just fitness folks, because that's what you guys are about. But a bigger picture, a bigger, more holistic approach. So I want you guys to talk about yourselves and how y'all met.
Oh, Vegas and MySpace, you want to take it?
MySpace in Las Vegas.
Yes.
Yeah, well, thank you for having us. And yeah, so we met in, we were both in the fitness industry. We were doing, I was doing competitions. Micah was doing a lot of stuff with the different fitness magazines, as was I. And so we actually met in person at the Olympia, Mr. Olympia, which is a huge expo that's in Las Vegas. And that was back in 2008. And we knew each other just kind of through the industry. We'd communicated a little bit through MySpace, and we were like, hey, let's meet up at the expo and we'll take a picture together and then say goodbye. And so we met at the expo, and took the picture together, and we were like, okay, I kind of like you. What are you doing the rest of the weekend? And we have been together pretty much every single day for the last 15 years since that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things where when you know, like some people just say that, you meet your person and you just know, and that's exactly what it was. Obviously we lived the same lifestyle. We had a lot of similarities with certain things, but it felt like I had just known her for years, and I just wanted to be with her more and more. And, just a couple months after that, she would end up moving to Kansas City. I was right in the middle of starting HitchFit, our first business, and that's kind of how it bloomed off, and we've been by each other's side since.
So that's a great intro. Let's talk about HitchFit. Well, you got married, but it was pretty quick, right?
Yeah, we were together
Year and a half.
Yeah.
Yep.
So tell us about HitchFit for those that don't know.
So HitchFit, on MySpace back in the day, you didn't even use your real name. It was a nickname. So Hitch was my nickname on MySpace.
Okay.
And I had built it to like 150,000 followers. And so when I started the business, I was like, I'm just going to call it HitchFit, and it originally was Hitch Fitness, and we then trimmed it down to HitchFit. And so in the fitness world, specifically personal training, you go into a gym, and the goal, unfortunately for the trainer, is to hold you and retain you for long, extended periods of time. We did not like that whole concept and that flow, because that was based off of a sale, when our passion and our goal was to transform the client. We really wanted to go into that person's life, teach them all the tools they needed to with nutrition, workouts, whatnot, and help them become their best version, and then go, okay, now go live this lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how HitchFit was born from the foundation of it. So we ended up becoming one of the very first online personal trainers in the world, and that story is really cool as well. We built it to 82 countries now, over 700,000 pounds globally. We get to wake up and we get to just transform people's lives.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
No, that's really good. And here's the thing. When I first met them, I asked them, I'm like, I want to blow you guys up. Like, look, they're like, no, we don't want to get big because then we lose the personal touch. And that is refreshing because most people that I talk to in our industry, it's all about bigger is better. And that's not always true. And so that's one of the reasons why I like you guys so much is because you're real and you really want to have an impact on people's life. So tell me a little bit about the industry of fitness, where you came from, where it is now, and what has changed. Because that's a really dog eat dog, and I mean that, industry. It is very me-centered. It is very, what's the word? It's all about narcissistic. Would you say narcissistic would be good? But tell us where you came from, how you were able to pull out of that.
Well, I'll tell my story a little bit. So I kind of felt called to be in the fitness world. I really was, when I got out of college, I was like, what am I going to do? And what can I do that I actually am going to enjoy doing? Like, if I could do one thing every day, like, where would I want to be and what would I want to do? And I realized this one morning, and I was living in Manchester, New Hampshire, and I was at a Gold's Gym, and I was like, this is it. How do I find out how I can work in a gym every day? And so from that moment on, like, I started pursuing my personal training certifications and getting into that, in that world. And I became a trainer, and I actually got to the opportunity to work for Norwegian Cruise Lines as the fitness director. But also on cruise ships is lots of food and lots of alcohol, and so you're kind of lonely even though there's all these people. It's very in and out, and it's very hard to make like close connections. So I was kind of like struggling with a little bit of depressive feelings, and I was eating, like way overeating. I was in the crew bar way too much every night, and I gained a lot of weight during that time. So when I got off that ship, my little sister hadn't seen me for like over a year. She, like, her jaw dropped, and she didn't say anything, but I was like, oh my goodness, like, what have I done to myself? And in the meantime, I had all of these dreams of, like, I loved Oxygen Fitness magazine, and I wanted to be one of these like strong women that I saw in the magazines, and I wanted to compete someday. But I was making all these choices with my eating and with my lifestyle that were pushing me further and further away from that. So in 2005, I have what I call my Independence Day, and I was actually a personal trainer, but I was binge eating at night. I was drinking, and I had a lot of weight to lose. So I was kind of trying to teach people healthy, but I was living unhealthy. I had this day, and I woke up. I had McDonald's the night before. I had gone out drinking a bunch of beer with friends, and I felt disgusting. And then here I am going into the gym trying to teach people, oh, you got to be healthy.
Little hypocrisy.
Oh, so much hypocrisy. So I made a choice that day. A friend said to me, hey, I saw you wanted to do competitions. What are you waiting for? And I realized I didn't have an answer for that question. So I ended up changing everything in my life. I hired 2 coaches to help me with nutrition and with my training. I ended up going on, I lost 50 pounds. I ended up winning my first show. And I was kind of just hooked on, I was like, this is it. This is, the path for me. And then that led to, a lot of magazine opportunities and things. For me, I would say, like, the magazine things and all of that was really fun. But the thing for me that was the most meaningful was I felt that the behaviors I had, especially the compulsive eating behaviors, had me in a trap. And so for me, the discipline of the lifestyle was what really, it gave me this level of freedom. So yes, it's fun to be ripped and to have 6-pack abs. But for me, it was something that was a lot deeper of stepping into this lifestyle that gave me so much discipline. And for me, transformation, when I met Micah and we started Hitch Fit, I wanted people to experience that same level of freedom. Maybe not to the level where they're getting on stages and competing and things, but just that level of freedom that comes from discipline.
But you do have a component called good to great. Mm-hmm. So if there are folks that have been in the fitness lifestyle, you can actually take them to that competition level.
That's right.
Which is really good. Were you disillusioned with the industry when you were in it?
So I came from, a different standpoint. First 18 years of my life, really tough. I was really thin. I was 138 pounds at 6 foot when I started my journey. I started working out, and of course I wanted to look like the guys on covers of magazines.
Sure.
And Van Damme, I wanted to look like Van Damme, like that was it. But it was so much deeper than that, because I had a lot of mental stuff going on that, and fast forward to today, now knowing all the research and what fitness does to change your mind and help with anxiety and stuff like that. And so my big fuel was trying to get myself better. And so I fell in love with fitness. I started helping some of my friends when I was in college. And then the fitness industry came. A guy came up to me that we're still dear friends with in 2001. And he said, man, you need to be a fitness model. And I remember going, what is a fitness model? He's like, the dude's on covers of magazines. And I was like, I'm going to be a fitness model. Now, I live in Kansas City, and Kansas City's a great place, but it's not a fitness model place. We got barbecue and cheese football. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to go make it happen. A couple of years later, I was on my first cover of Fitness Magazine. I ended up gracing, multiple covers inside the pages of over 100 fitness magazines. The industry, this is what I'll tell people about the industry. This is something she says quite often too. You got to use the industry. Don't let the industry use you, because it can become so consuming and so based upon the judgment of the condition that you're in at all times.
A lot of people are fragile.
Yes.
Because if you're judged a certain way, a certain look, you're out of balance with your physical appearance, the PEDs.
Yes.
And that could be a whole nother podcast that we could do. That you're right. Like that industry could really consume you. But here's what I want to end on today is you guys took that and you've made it so much more. So I want to tell our viewers and those listening today about where you're at. So HitchFit, still a thing, right? If you haven't checked it out, Google them, check it out. But I want you to tell everybody where you're at now, because when you guys came together, two are stronger, and now you've built even something bigger and better. So where are we at now?
So we started a second business a couple of years ago called Soul Fit Retreats, and we have taken HitchFit, components of HitchFit, and really infused it with our faith, the fitness, the entire spectrum of being able to really dive into people. And we take them on trips all around the world in beautiful locations, and we have amazing mentors in place, and we build these safe places that, all walks of life. So multimillionaire entrepreneurs to stay-at-home moms or people that have saved up a long time to be able to go to one of the retreats maybe. And we build these safe places where people open up and they heal their wounds. And it's such a beautiful thing to witness. So we get to dive in deeper with these people, opening ourselves up to then be able to open them up. And in beautiful locations, good food and workouts and all shapes and sizes and ages.
Yeah, and see, that's the whole key is we are more than just outward fitness. We've been created to be so much more. And what you guys do, and I've seen it firsthand, when you did the Lean and Level Up, which is another component of Soul Fit. And I've talked to some of the folks, and I've seen the changes and what it's done for them. And what it does, it gives a lot of confidence, puts people in a right frame of mind, fixes some of their physical issues and attributes that maybe they were eating wrong or they weren't, taking care of their bodies the right way. These retreats are really, really cool. And so I am so excited that you guys have taken what God gave you as a career and moved it out into a ministry. And I think that is really special. If people today want to check it out, where do they go?
soulfitretreats.com. And we have one coming up May 30th through June 3rd.
Yeah, I'm sending my daughter and son-in-law.
Yes, I'm so excited.
So they're going to be my mole.
Yes.
And when they come out, I'm going to say, okay, I want to see.
Yes.
But we're so excited about that because we need more people like this that can create those safe spaces, especially for the millennial generation that are used to looking for safe spaces, because that's how they've been geared in their life. Where do they go? How do they find that? This is a good place to do it. Go ahead.
Yeah, one of the big things is people want to be seen and heard. And so many people just hold in what they have going on. And again, we build that safe place so that they are seen and heard. So they have a voice. Yeah. And everyone there is there to lift one another up, no matter what they went through.
And they're a week long.
Yeah.
We're doing nutrition. We're doing workouts together. You're doing mental, emotional, all kinds.
Yeah, we actually we do the workouts, and everything is optional, so people don't have to come. But we really actually create spaces where they get to share their stories. So it's a lot more digging in. There's the physical fitness piece, but there is this mental, spiritual, emotional fitness piece that we really dig into, and that's why people walk away saying, "This changed my life."
Yeah, I'm thinking about my career in the military, and they took all these different components, but it didn't come out the same.
Yeah.
It was a little bit different. And so I'm so glad that you guys are doing this. Wholeheartedly support y'all. And so excited about the future for what you're going to be doing. We're not going to give it all away today. We're going to have them back on another episode, but they're getting ready to launch and do some other stuff that is just blowing my mind. And when it comes out, we'll have them back. But we're so excited. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. You're part of everything that we do here at Reestablishment to give people a good foundation. If your foundation's been a little rocky, got some cracks in it, that can all be fixed. And so that's what we want to do, is give you foundations that you can be all that you can be, especially in Jesus Christ. Have a great day.
Raise your hands up. Raise it up. Reestablishment. We've got to complete. Let's talk about it from A to
This
Z.
episode is brought to you by Soul Fit Retreats. Soul Fit Retreats are life-changing experiences for the mind, body, and spirit. Each retreat is a unique combination of faith, health, fitness, and fun. Join the welcoming community for a journey that will empower you, encourage you, and challenge you to become the best version of yourself. Visit soulfitretreats.com today.